Okay, this will be a tutorial for us to get our images or our sketches that we should have, and we want to make them to fit this template over here. So this can be our panels number 1, 2, and 3, and then our little label down the bottom. So I already have an idea of what I want my thing to look like. So, and is this coming up on my recording? Yes, it is. So I want it to look something like like in an aeroplane. Where this one, I want my first panel to be something looking like this, which is like the inside of a cockpit of the aeroplane. And then I want it to look like there's a missile flying, which the missile will be the second panel. And then the last panel will be like something like an aeroplane that the missile is going to hit. Now, I've already put these through Affinity, or I found images online to like simplify it. So this is a clear black and white image, which is going to make my image tracing a lot easier. You can still do it the way we did it with the tutorial with the Zapdos, where you can get and draw around the lines. And I'm still going to show you, I'm still going to do that to get the outside edges. If you go and you load up the template that I've given you, it should have these 4 panels over here. So the 3 internal panels and the panel down the bottom. So then I'm going to go to press the place button, and I have my 3 over here that I want to place. And these obviously have to be cleaned up, but for now I'm just going to put them on this document and we can start rearranging them. So this over here can be my first panel, and I'm going to have to change its size clearly, but this is going to be something like this over here. And then this one will be maybe something like that. And then this one will be the airplane will be something like over here in the top right corner. That's where they're going to be in the panels. And if I zoom in to get us better sizing, we're going to have to do things to make this ready to print, because right now this is not going to print. We know how this is going to look in our printer. There's obviously no red lines anywhere, and it's going to have the whole panel. It's not going to give the right effect we want. Like over here, I clearly want this to be see-through so I can see behind it. Shh. I want this to be see-through so I can see behind it. So I'm going to have to clean up this image. And when I imported these file types are PNG file types. These are bitmaps, so I have to convert these to a vector. So depending on how simple your design is, this could be what I have here is your version of this is the sketches that you have that are inside your folios. You put your sketch inside this document and then you design it. So you might get the pen tool and you might say, okay, with my pen tool, I'm going to use this particular tool over here to make that, and press escape to finish it. And so now that is this line over here. This is the outside, like the top part of my airplane. That's my first line. You're going to do it in better detail than I did it there. And then you can also use the curvature tool, like we did with the Zapdos tutorial, to make that curve the right shape. And then once you've done this, once you've done all that detail, you can just go and you're going to get your sketch, and you're not going to include your sketch in there. I would get this line and I would make this line FF0000 to make it, well, that's my fill. I don't want my fill. My fill will be transparent, but my outside layer will be FF0000, and press enter. And that's going to be my red line. And remember, what does the red line tell the laser cutter to do? Cut, exactly. So that's going to cut that top part out. Then, so now I'm starting to think of my design. Sure, I want this top bar cut out, but also I want all the rest of it also cut out. So I'm going to have to get my pen tool again, and I'm going to have to do a line going all the way up here. I'm going to have to do my pen tool like that. So when I remove my sketch, see this red lines over here? So now it's going to cut that whole part out. So that's all going to be transparent. That's nothing's going to be there. I'm also planning all these three things to be made out of plywood as well, so that they're not transparent on their own. So I'm going to cut that out. So I'm constantly going back and forth with my design to change that. And then the same thing over here, I can bring my pen tool and let's say I want to do, I can even do this interior part. I won't do the whole thing to save the time for the tutorial. But I could have something like that. There you go. So I have this particular shape like that. Let's say that's what I want. And so when I remove my sketch, see how this is going to be cutting out the inside of the airplane? So now it's going to see through that. So we're going to see the information behind it. And so then it's just a matter of doing that in more detail. Now, if I really like my sketch, or let's say I find an image of something I want to keep in, like let's say I actually got this from a decent website to pull this image. I do like parts of this image here, so I might actually include this frame of my image to raster that out because it's going to make like the instrument panel look good. But I can still do the red lines around it for the cutting. So let's have a look. In theory, if I were to print this, file, print. Also, there's something else we're forgetting. I'm forgetting that I have to get these lines. If I press the shift button, I can select multiple lines, and these lines have a stroke, and I want them to be zero, I think point 0.01 is the thickness we want them to be. And then if I have that over there, and if I go to File, Print, I have the right printer here, I will go to Properties. I don't want it out of acrylic. I want it to be natural. Natural wood at 3mm, apply. Okay. If I bring this to the printer, oh, it doesn't like that. There we go. Let's see if I bring this to the printer. Let's see how it looks. Okay, don't worry about the alignment. I can actually fix that up. This is just a problem of this software. This isn't an issue you have to deal with. Let's bring this out here. File, print, print. Okay, so here's my design. Now it's clearly not finished, right? If I zoom in, right, we see obviously the edges are not red. And we remember the edges will have to be red for us to cut this out. So we can change that. But let's look at what we did change. We put in this red part about the barrier over here. So it is going to cut this out. So this is using a combination of getting that rastered image is going to look nice, that image. But like I don't need these black clouds in here. But they won't exist because wherever this red line is, it's going to cut that out. So this will be, obviously I didn't align my image underneath it with the red lines. That's because the lines disappeared in my document. But I can, if I make them align, this is ready to be sort of cut out. I just have to finish my work with what I don't want here. So then I'm going to do the same thing. If I look up here, I have the one with the missile and I have the one with the F-18. I'm going to do the same approach. So let's look at the F-8, so not the F-18, the F-15. So let's look at the one with the F-15. This one over here is a bit harder because I don't really want to go right at the edge of the line for this one. I want to get my pen tool or my pencil tool, and I want to draw a line that's a little bit on the outside. Now, I believe this isn't showing because of this. There you go. I'm gonna get a shape like this, and then I might want this to connect to here, or I might even make this go all the way. So if I had this around this shape, that will cut out the airplane, but there's going to be a problem with this design. If I cut this out, what am I going to be left with? Yeah, like just a circle. And if I want that aeroplane, I'm just going to be left with a circle with the aeroplane. It's not attached to my box anywhere. So I need to now start to make some artistic choices of how I'm going to attach it to some of these teeth here on the side. So instead of getting my line to go all the way down here, I might delete this bottom one, and I might have to do something like this and connect it down here. Same with over here. Right, so now, are they connected? I think so. So if I did something like that, I think it is. I think this airplane is having a bit of a problem. Can I send it back? Okay, so there's my airplane, and it's going to cut out these lines, and that airplane's just going to be flying there. Unfortunately, we'd love it just to be floating there in the middle of the air, but it's not going to look good. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm going to try something special with this one. Instead of the back layer being wood, being a plain piece of wood, I'm going to put clouds on the very, very back layer. But I'll save that for another tutorial. But if I were to cut this, if I bring this to the printer, we'll see what it looks like on the laser cutter. Oh, it didn't cut it because these lines are not the correct thickness. I'm also doing this very rushed, so I might have missed a corner. You'll have to make sure when you do yours that you don't do things like you don't miss these connections over here, because then they won't cut out of the wood. Right? Then if I go there and if I print that, so there we go. That's going to cut out that particular shape there. And we may as well do the other things here, like all these lines. And we'll have to make all these 0.01, and we'll have to make this color. If we want to cut it, FF0000, enter. Did I make that thickness correct? Stroke. Not that. 1.01. 0.01. Enter. Oh, that didn't turn out. Something missed out. I didn't do my edges right. That is that. Stroke. 0.05. Does that? Let's see if that works better. File. Print. I'm going to have to fix out why. I'm going to figure out why that isn't cutting out the shape we want. It's called it's embedded, maybe. I might have to give you a new template. I'll see if it works or not, but I might have to give you a new template. Just let me test something. Okay. Yeah. So this is what it should look like over here. See how we got those red teeth and then the airplane's connected over here. We do have to fix up some things, like we're going to cut over here so we can connect that to the bottom. Look, that should work, and we're going to get the airplane. Now, next thing we're going to do is, remember you're going to get some sort of markings. You're going to get some sort of marking based on like how efficient your design is. You're going to get some sort of marks depending on how efficient your design is. So for saving space. So here, with this part, I just have this missile. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get like the red pen tool, and I'm going to, for the sake of this, yep, I'm going to get my red pen tool. And I'm going to do something like a design like that, coming around that. When I have these two parts, if I send it on the print form like this, I'm actually wasting a lot of space. So instead, when I print them, I would like to see something where I get these two designs, and you might have them closer to each other like that. So they're using up, there's less wasted material. So now there's waste, and that's something you can talk about in your evaluation for saving space. Now let's talk about some ways you can cheat. Just undoing a lot of the work we've done here. Actually, I might just start a new one. Yeah. Open. No. Oh. Right, let's say I start this new one over here. Copy. No. All right. So I have my things over here, and I want to add in my. Let's do the cockpit one. So I'm going to press the place. We have it over here. This one over here, because this is the most complicated one. And let's get the size correct. I want my size. Let's say I want to maximize the size of this to fit inside the base. So I want it to look something like size I want. So if you get your image, if your image is a nice quality image, by nice I mean, see how this has very clear lines. Now I know it's still bitmapped, but this is very clear lines, and it's also one color. We can use the tool on Affinity Affinity has a new vectorizing mode. So where is it? Image trace. If I press image trace, I can. Oh, I guess it didn't like that. Hold on, let me pause. Okay, so I've got that image over here still, and it is still a PNG. We can see by if we zoom in, we see it's still a bitmap. If you have a very clean image and it's not many colors, like this is just black, so I put more effort in making sure I get an image that is black. You can go to the vector button up here, and then you can press image trace, and what it does, the image trace turns this into a vector. So see how we zoom in? So where that's useful to us is if we press apply, now we can actually press the individual components in here and move them out. So we can we can delete the ones we don't want. Right? So actually I do want that one. I don't want this layer over here. So then what I can do, I can delete that whole shape. When I go and drag this over, when I go and drag this over here and like I shrink it, I can use my tools, like I can use my cutting tool over here. Which one is this knife tool? And I can cut that, and I can cut over here. And what that allows me to do is I think I can select just this line over here, and I can make this line I'm going to make this line red. And just to show it exists, let's get a bit of a thickness so we can see it. So now I have this red line over here. It's the line that I need. It's already the curvature I need to cut this part of the airplane. I can do the same thing by this white box in here. Right? And I'm just going to change the color of it so we can understand the shape. I'm not going to keep it this color, obviously, but see this, it's made this blue shape, and this is all one shape. And if I actually get the corners of it, so the stroke, I can make the stroke red, and I'll increase the thickness just so we can see what's happening here. See how this red line, this is exactly the red line I want it to follow. I want the laser cutter to follow. So then I can get that line. If I make that the actual thickness, I want 0.05. And let's actually remove this because I don't want it to be that color, right? I want it to be transparent. Oh, what is that? Is that the whole, oh, that's the whole black cockpit part. So maybe I don't want the inside to be transparent. I think I might want it to be 0.000000. White? No, F. Okay. So if I leave it like that, and let me fix up this top one as well. So let's look what this looks like in the printer. Let's see if it does the whole body like we want it to look like. And I won't worry about the teeth for this case again. I just want to see if my aeroplane cockpit turns out how I want it to turn out. When this goes to 57. So we've got the inside part and we've got that nice red line that's going to follow. Can you see the red on the screen? Is there a red line here? Yeah. So this is exactly what I want my laser cutter to do. This is going to give me like the best quality image. I've already thought about that. I don't care about those clouds because that part's all going to be removed. So what's going to happen is you're just going to get that bar at the top, which is the top of the airplane, and then the inside cockpit part is going to look with its nice high quality. If I wanted to go super fancy, I can fix this part over here as well. I can make that transparent, but that's probably too advanced for this particular case. And so then I'll just have to do those steps with the other parts. And again, put your name tag like the name tag tutorial. You have something name over here. I'm going to put a reference over here, and then I can cut my 3 pieces. So for this tutorial, you are going to get your sketches, you're going to put it into your design, and then you are going to make these 3 panels. What I will do is I will update the template, because this template that I currently have, I'll just check it here. This template, if I make this 0.05, and if I change this color to red, this template should be working. We'll test it. File, print. So this template should be working, and then I'll give you this template, and I'll update it on the Google Classroom. Voice, stop. Okay. This work out? No, that didn't work out. 0.01, color of red. I'll have to figure that out, why that isn't cutting, but it should still be fine for you. White, black. That's why. But I thought I picked the color. Okay. I was selecting something else. FF0000. Okay, good. Right, I'll give you this template. This template will work. I'll update this template. I'll give it to you, and you can work on this part of the task.